Hey, everybody. This is Scott Ryan Paulson, the Rooster of Tucson, here to wake you up and welcome you back to the Citizen Soldier Podcast, broadcasting live here from Hack Studios, right here in Tucson, Arizona. Good old cartel hell. And today we're kicking off Disaster Week. And now, before anybody out there starts thinking this is going to be all doom and gloom, let me stop you right there. This isn't about fear. It's not about panic. This isn't about being obsessed with the worst case scenarios. This is about responsibility. It's about preparedness. It's about asking yourself one simple question. If life changed tonight, would you be ready? Would your family be ready? Would the people who depend on you be okay? And, most of us prepare for the things that we expect. Like work, birthdays, vacations, football season, but very few people out there prepare for the unexpected. And the truth is, emergencies don't care about your schedule. Those power outages, they don't ask if you're busy. Those natural disasters don't wait until payday. Life has that little way of reminding us that control is often an illusion. And the question isn't whether difficult moments happen. The question is whether we're ready to face them. And that's what being a citizen soldier is all about, my friends. It's not about being paranoid or living in fear. It's about becoming dependable. Because when things go sideways out there, people look for someone who's calm, who thinks clearly, who's prepared, and maybe that someone is you. I want you to think back to the last time that your power went out. Maybe it was for an hour. Maybe it was overnight. What happened? Did you immediately know where the flashlights were? Did you have your extra batteries, the food that didn't require electricity? Did you have that way to charge your phone? Or did that stress level start climbing almost immediately? And there's no shame in admitting that you weren't prepared, because most people out there aren't. But preparedness isn't about guilt. It's about growth. You don't have to become an expert overnight. You just have to start. One bottle of water, get the flashlight, the first aid kit, one plan, one conversation, man. Small actions create big confidence. Now, let's go ahead and talk about something that doesn't get enough attention. That's normalcy bias. It's the belief that because something hasn't happened before, it probably won't happen in the future or anytime soon. But we tell ourselves, that won't happen here. We'll figure it out. Somebody else is going to take care of it. Until suddenly we're facing a situation we never even imagined. The reality is this: preparedness isn't predicting disasters, people. It's respecting possibilities. And I wear a seatbelt every day, not because I expect to crash my car, but because I understand that life is unpredictable. And preparedness works the same way, people. It's common sense, wisdom, responsibility. Now, let's make it a little practical for you people out here, because if you don't have a 72-hour emergency kit, start one this week. Water, non-perishable foods, get your flashlights, your extra batteries, a basic first aid kit, get some prescription meds, phone chargers, important documents, all your pet supplies. You don't have to buy everything all at once, people, because preparedness, it's not a race. It's a habit. And every time you go to the grocery store, pick up one extra item. You got to build slowly, but build consistently, because here's what happens when people are prepared. They think more clearly. They make better decisions. They're able to help others instead of becoming completely overwhelmed themselves. And that's another part of this conversation, community. Being a citizen soldier doesn't stop at your front door. Do you know your neighbors? Do you know anyone on your street might need help during an emergency, or who uses oxygens, who's an elderly person, or who lives alone, because community isn't built during disaster. It's built during the way long before this disaster arrives. And strong communities recover faster. They adapt, help one another. I think we've lost a lot of that over the years. Of course, due to politics and everybody's different views on everything. We've become isolated, disconnected from reality. Everybody's in their own little lanes, but adversity has a funny way of reminding us that we need each other. And preparedness isn't just about stockpiling supplies. It's about strengthening relationships as well. Now, I want you to shift gears for a second, people. Let's go ahead and talk about mindset, because you can have all the gear in the world, but if you panic, none of that matters. Your mindset matters. Reclaim that scenario, people. You have to remain calm. The ability to assess this whole situation and take the next logical step, that's what matters. And you don't have to have it all right there for all the answers, You just need to keep moving forward. One decision at a time, action at a time, problem at a time. And I've learned throughout my life that preparation builds confidence. And that confidence, my friends, reduces fear. And, that fear right there, it creates hesitation. Preparation creates the action, and action saves time and creates that momentum that changes outcomes. And I think sometimes people misunderstand what responsibility really means. They think it means perfection. No, it doesn't. Responsibility means showing up. It means making an effort. Deciding that the people you love are worth planning for. And they are. Now, maybe you're listening to this thinking, Scott, I don't have a lot of money. Trust me, I understand that, because preparedness isn't reserved for wealthy people. Preparedness starts with awareness. Write down emergency contacts. Fill up your gas tank before it's empty. Keep a flashlight in your car. Carry a basic first aid kit, like I said. And definitely learn CPR. None of those things require massive financial investments. They require intentionality. And here's another challenge. Talk to your family. What happens if everyone is separated? Where do you meet? Where do you call? What is your backup plan? Those conversations right there might feel uncomfortable. You have to have them anyway, because uncertainty is definitely less intimidating when there's an actual plan, because I remember hearing someone say that people don't rise to the occasion. They fall to the level of their training. And I think there's truth in that. Preparation, it doesn't eliminate difficulty. It improves your response to it. And that's a powerful difference. Life is going to test all of us. Maybe not through natural disasters, maybe through illnesses, financial hardships, loss, unexpected changes. The specifics vary and the principles remain, because prepared people adapt better, faster, and they create stability for other people. And maybe that's one of the greatest gifts that you can give your family is stability. The reassurance that no matter what happens, someone is always thinking ahead. Someone's paying attention, willing to lead. Because leadership isn't always loud. Sometimes leadership is simply having a flashlight when everyone else is staring in the dark. And sometimes that leadership is staying calm, making the phone call nobody wants to make. And, leadership is saying, we'll figure this out together. And those moments right there, my friends, matter. Your character matters. Preparation right there, that reveals character. Because when adversity arrives, my friend, excuses don't solve problems. The action does. And I'm not saying any of this to overwhelm you, trust me. I'm saying it because I believe in you. I believe ordinary people are capable of extraordinary resilience. And I believe families can become stronger, more connected, because I believe preparedness is empowering, not frightening, but empowering. Because helplessness is heavy, people. Readiness creates confidence, as I said. It creates those options and hope. So here's your Citizen Soldier Challenge this week, my friends. Take 30 minutes, walk through your house, and identify 3 areas where you could improve your preparedness. Maybe it's water storage, maybe it's updating your emergency contacts, assembling a first aid kit. Whatever it is, take action. Not tomorrow, today, people, because every step matters. Every improvement matters. Those decisions matter. And if you've already started preparing, keep going. Encourage somebody else to do the same. Share what you've learned. Spread through example, my friend. People notice consistency, responsibility. They see the leadership, especially during difficult times. But, as we wrap up today's conversation, my friends, I want to leave you with this thought. Disaster don't define us. They reveal us. They reveal our priorities, our preparation, and our values. And while we can't control every circumstance life throws our way, we can definitely control how we respond. We can choose awareness over denial, preparation over procrastination, action over excuses, and compassion over indifferences. Because being a citizen soldier isn't about being the toughest person in the room. It's about being the most dependable, the person people can trust, the person who shows up and who remains steady, the person who understands that preparedness isn't fear, it's love in action. It's caring enough to think ahead, caring enough to sacrifice convenience today for security tomorrow. And maybe that's what this entire conversation comes down to. Love, responsibility, service, community. Those values matter, people. They always have and they always will. So as you go about your week here in Cartel Hell Tucson, don't just listen to this episode and move on. Apply it, talk about it, act on it. Become a little more prepared than you were yesterday, because progress compounds. Preparedness does the same thing. And ordinary people making intentional choices can create extraordinary outcomes. And that's going to go ahead and wrap up today's episode of the Citizen Soldier Podcast. Once again, thank you for spending part of your day with me. I appreciate every single one of you out there who tunes in, shares these conversations, and continues striving to become the kind of person that others can depend on here. And this is Scott Ryan Paulson, the Rooster of Tucson, here to wake you up, reminding you to stay informed, stay prepared, and continue becoming the kind of citizens that others can count on. Take care of yourself and each other. And until next time, keep moving forward. I'll talk to you again soon. Over and out.